What's up, sons? It's Blind Rod with Son of a Tech once again, and today I want to talk about spec mining. Basically, there are a lot of misconceptions and quite a bit of confusion surrounding the topic, and I want to get it cleared up so you guys understand what your goal is when speculative mining and how to participate in it from the top-down view. This isn't going to be an in-detailed guide, but we will be covering in-detailed guides for basics like setting up nodes and wallet daemons later within Linux, specifically Ubuntu, as that's my favorite distro to do a lot of this in. So if you're interested in those more detailed guides, hit the like, notification bell, and of course, you will be notified when they are posted. Let's get into it right after a word from today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is myself. To support the channel, click the join button below the video and you will get access to our privately hosted Rocket Chat. Selecting the $1.99 option will get you access, and after that you need to head over to the membership tab, scroll down, and expand out your membership perks. Find the section for connecting on social media, and in that section there will be a secret registration URL to join Rocket Chat, where you can sign up to enjoy talking with other cryptocurrency enthusiasts and miners without spammers, scammers, or bots. So spec mining means speculative mining. It is the process in which you mine a cryptocurrency that has little to no value. Speculative mining does not typically mean mining a coin that has been listed on an exchange, and much less if it's been listed in one of the mining calculators like What to Mine or, of course, minerstat.com. So essentially, you're thinking about basically a coin that is a ghost in the eyes of profitability. The goal of speculative mining is finding recently launched coins and mining them before they are listed on an exchange in hopes for high profit when they are eventually listed. This obviously comes with significant risk, so let's get into the details. First of all, pros and cons. Pros here is that you have a high profit potential if the coin actually gets listed on an exchange. This is primarily due to the fact that new exchange listings typically have a pretty significant initial pump. So if you're prepared and ready to list those coins on the exchange on the day of launch, that is your highest profit potential. It has a lot of learning opportunities as well. Speculative mining is not an easy operation, but the more you do it, the more you will understand about cryptocurrency and blockchain as a whole and how it functions. And this is key to understanding cryptocurrency markets, so it can bolster and improve not only your knowledge of how the blockchain functions, but also how to participate within trades, etc. Community participation. Now, this is the big one that I think a lot of people miss out on. For me personally, I actually try to go into a lot of these communities not with my full name. There are a few that I will, and I think the people are aware when I get in there. The reason for this is, of course, it kind of throws off the whole feel of a lot of the speculative mined coins because we are talking about low user counts within the Discords, on the Twitters, and so on. But I really do, especially early on, enjoy participating within these early on projects and learning about them. A great example, of course, for me was Sumo Coin and Ryo. And even though we had some bad actors within Sumo Coin, it eventually forked over to Ryo, and I had a lot of fun within the community and meeting people that are still around today and doing great work within the mining community. Now, here's the cons. There is no guaranteed revenue. This means that essentially because it's not listed on an exchange and there's no way to actually sell it outside of maybe to some people within the Discord itself, you end up in a position where you are taking a significant risk. And there may be absolutely $0 that you get out of this process. So by no means do you want to be putting your entire farm on it, especially if you have bills to pay and mouths to feed. Ain't nothing in this world for free. All right, so the next thing is difficult learning curve on cons. Now, this is because essentially, just like learning opportunities, it does mean that barrier to entry is higher. You are going to have to understand how to work within at least command prompts, in most cases in terminals for Linux, and you're going to need to be able to navigate those on your own without a lot of help. You see, because a lot of these coins are also early on, while the community participation is there, in a lot of cases, the documentation is not. So you may get somebody that says, run this command, but that's all you get is run this command. They don't tell you what directory to run it from, or exactly what step-by-step guides are. Hopefully later on this channel, we'll give you guys a better idea of how you can find all of these things and start to navigate on your own so that you are not only more familiar with the blockchain in that, but also more familiar just with programming knowledge, very basic, of course, scripting knowledge, very basic, and just shell and terminal navigation. The last one is significant downtime potential. And what happens here is essentially you are in on the ground floor. So because you're in on the ground floor, lots of upgrades are being done to the network at all times. You essentially have patch after patch after patch after patch, and you have crash after crash after crash after crash. This means that basically, you have a lot of potential for nothing to be being mined on your particular rig when these things happen. A new patch launches and your node crashes. You need to perform an update, but you're at work, so you don't have time to perform an upgrade on the node, and therefore you are down for that entire mining day. It can be a little bit daunting and frustrating. There are some things that can keep your uptime going even in these particular cases, like setting up cron jobs or batch files on Windows so that you can restart the miner at least, or restart the node if it checks and sees that service is down, or recheck the wallet daemon and reset that up if you were planning on having that go to outside payments from, of course, the main node, which we could get into later. What should you look for in a spec mined coin? And this one is actually quite important. You should be looking for no pre-mine, because a pre-mine means that as soon as it's listed on the exchange, the developers more than likely have an intention of listing those coins and rug pulling the entire community. This has happened plenty of times in mineable coins. However, it is more likely in, of course, the proof of stake coins. And that's kind of where it all started, though, was still with a lot of these mined coins. An example of a caveat that may be mentioned here would be Ethereum with its kind of pre-mine and selling to the VCs and so on. However, I would still argue that Ethereum is a lot more sketchy than a lot of the other proof of work coins out today. Next, we have team credentials, specifically developer team credentials. What you want to be looking for here is people that have had at least some sort of previous work within cryptocurrency, whether that be running mining pools or basically developing another coin or working somewhere in some other aspect of the cryptocurrency space, and make sure that they typically follow through with what they're working on. It can be a little bit difficult to figure this out, and on very small coins, a lot of the time, a lot of people have not doxed themselves, meaning that you are going to have essentially basically usernames and so on. But one that would be an example would be FireIce UK, who basically forked Sumo Coin into Rio. And while you don't have him fully doxed, you are aware of his username and what things he works on, like the cryptocurrency miner XMRig. And so you can kind of be like, okay, at this point, I understand that this guy has at least worked within the space. The next is GitHub frequency. Commit frequency specifically. Now, you don't want a whole bunch of, lazy commits, maybe like we see in Team Nightly Miner, aka Team Black Miner, where you have very small changes and a whole bunch of them that are really kind of meaningless at the end of the day. What you really want to be looking for are, of course, substantive commits that actually have code within them. And you may not understand all of the code, but reviewing it and making sure that there is enough there, maybe even checking out the comments for what it does, and making sure that it is frequent enough that it has activity on the account is one way to protect yourself in these cases. Finally is going to be social media interactions. Now, this one's a little hard because, communities are likely to shill whatever projects they like most of the time. And that can make things extra difficult because it may make the coin sound bigger than it actually is. That being said, there is some validity to mob mentality driving price, at least on the initial launch. So you want to make sure there's some sort of activity, whether that be in Discord and people communicating in there, or Twitter and the crypto Twitter peeps going ahead and shilling on there. If there's no shilling, if there's absolutely nobody really backing this type of thing and they aren't super excited about it, then maybe you want to question why that is. And so really social media interactions do mean something here. And you want to make sure that they're also ethically sound as far as from their other perspectives on cryptocurrency. Hopefully they adhere to the fundamentals of cryptocurrency in general. And that kind of goes back to our no pre-mine. But, you know, this is kind of where it's at. We want to make sure that they're also on board with things like, of course, peer-to-peer transactions without the interference of banks or governments. Finally, I'm going to give you a brief overview on how to speculative mine. First of all, you need to learn to build nodes. Nodes are essentially what the network uses to confirm transactions and make sure that everybody is in consensus. So essentially when a miner goes out and submits a block to solve a transaction, it signals that to all the nodes, and the nodes will say, yes, we're all in consensus, you can confirm that block. Building a node is really not that hard. Once you get the hang of it, you'll understand how to build all nodes pretty much. And this is going to start with, of course, learning shell commands within Ubuntu, or of course in command prompt or whatever else, right? This is just basic overview. You need to learn to build nodes. And the reason for this is most speculatively mined coins will not have a mining pool. So you can't just open up a traditional miner and set it and forget it. The next thing is you need to learn how to start the wallet and generate your wallet keys and secure those keys, as well as be able to check your balances and so on. This will be definitely important in understanding the back end of maybe your GUI wallets. And then finally, you need to learn how to build a custom flight sheet within Hive OS. Now, you can mine a lot of these through Windows applications, but for the most part, you will have a Linux miner released first. This is especially true with speculative mine coins that have custom algorithms. And really, that should be put on what you should look for in a speculatively mined coin. If there isn't innovation to the algorithm for the mining, then, you know, it might be a sign that it's a little bit lazy. Now, if, and the case is that you have a new algorithm, you're going to have new miners that more than likely will not be listed within Hive OS. So you're going to have to learn how to create a custom flight sheet that pulls the miner from GitHub. I will do a guide on how this works later on, so if you're interested, hit the notification bell and we'll get it covered. I hope that this basically made everything as clear as possible for if you should be mining speculatively and what it really entails, and clears up the difference between, you know, mining Raven coin, which is just, you know, not making as much money as Ethereum and hoping that it goes up, and mining a coin that is truly speculative that's not even listed on an exchange. And that's very important to understand the distinction. Thanks for watching. I will see you next Tuesday. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit the subscribe button for more, or check out this playlist for more crypto content related topics.